Welcome back, everybody. It's the Hollywood Purgatory. Sorry we've been away for a little bit, but we are having a bit of Comic-Con withdrawal right now, and now we are bringing our Comic-Con podcast to you. I'm Jeffrey Harris. On the other end of the line is Jay Snook from NoCal. Hey, Jay, how are you today?
Not too bad, not too bad.
We're both at San Diego Comic-Con last week. I got back earlier this week, so I was still in San Diego as of Monday.
So it was my first year. What year was it of yours? Like 10th year, 5th year, something like that?
Even longer. I've been going every year since 2005,
Wow.
so
Okay, so you've been going for a while.
13 years. I
Nice.
guess this is my 14th, I guess, counting 2005.
My first. It was my first time going. So.
Yay, congratulations, your first Comic-Con. So we both were there as media. So we're going to talk about our experiences at Comic-Con and what it was like attending Comic-Con this year. And we're going to mainly focus on that and dive into all that. There were a few other news stories I think we'll address because, you know, they're part and parcel with Comic-Con.
Now, should we just do it? Now, we should just do a day by day, or should we just do our like highlights? Because we could do.
I think we should do our main highlights because it's kind of like it's fuzzier to do day by day.
Okay.
So I want to get into that with you. So Jay, we were at WonderCon earlier this year, and was that your first WonderCon, or had you done?
No, that was my third. That was my third WonderCon.
So you done WonderCon. So this was your first official Comic-Con.
Yes, correct.
So quite a year for you to experience Comic-Con for the first time.
And thank God it wasn't that hot there. It was only like what 70s, 80s every day. That was great. I was so happy about that.
The humidity wasn't great though, I would say.
True, but like in Sacramento it was like 100-something degrees every day.
We're both wearing Deadpool shirts today. Yeah. There was a big Deadpool. I mean, there was a lot of Deadpool promotion going on that week, so it's good we're wearing because they were promoting I think they even premiered the extended Deadpool 2 cut.
I didn't get to see that. Friday or Saturday night. One of those.
Yes. So we're gonna get into that and break all that down. So did you have fun at it being your first Comic-Con?
Yeah, I didn't get to do everything I wanted to do, but I got to do most everything I wanted to do.
You never do at Comic-Con. Were your feet tired at all?
Actually, no. They were pretty good. I was grateful for that.
Good. What did you think of the crowds and just the throngs of people that would just be gathering all over?
I will say it didn't get super insanely nuts until about Friday and Saturday. Before that, the crowd wasn't too insane. It was still insane, but not horribly horrible.
All right, so we're going to get into that. So what would you say was your favorite event or panel this year? It could be anything at Comic-Con.
Well, I want to cover first, before we get into the panels, because I got to go to like what was like 3 or 4 different like things I had set up, because I got to do first, I got into the Deadpool's Dream Suite, that was really, really fun.
That was like a photo op, yeah. I went to that as well.
Yeah, they'd pretty much taken that, and by the way, that video is on my Movie Secret 23 YouTube if you guys are want to check it out later. But it was really cool because they set it up really well, like the movie itself.
Explain to us what the Deadpool Dream Suite was.
So the Deadpool Dream Suite mainly was like they kind of like almost like took like a room from the place where Deadpool lives and just like superimposed it into a hotel room.
At the Hard Rock Hotel.
Yes, and it was really cool. They did a very good job of the detail and everything.
What kind of paraphernalia was in there?
They had a bunch of Deadpool posters, a bunch of Deadpool books. They had the 2 couches there from the movie, some of the shelves. They had a stuffed Wolverine that was like hanging from a light post, which was really kind of cool.
Hanging from a noose is more like it.
Yeah, from a light post. But yeah, that was happening. They had like on one of the walls they had a whole like crayon drawn like little like map he had done. They also
it was the map from the movie.
Yeah, and they had a bunch of other hand drawn images to different characters like they were drawn like by like crayon and things like that. And yeah, I was really blown away by it. I thought it was really, really cool. I had a lot of fun in there. I'd never really done something like that before, so it was really fun.
I didn't like it as much as you. To me, it was more of a nice like photo touring opportunity, but that was just an example. They had a lot of activations. They call them activations, was sort of little mini exhibits. Like they had one for Jack Ryan that was apparently very popular. One for The Good Place. Sort of by the Tin Fish right outside the convention center.
They had one for The Walking Dead, actually.
Right.
One
And then there
outside
was
and one inside too. So there were technically two Walking Dead.
and then there was another one in a building for Shadow of the Tomb Raider that had live snakes,
Whoa.
like a snake pit where you
I
could
walked by that
interact.
one night, but I didn't actually pop in. But they did have. I also got to do the
Yeah,
Ready Player One experience. That was really fun.
right.
That
There
was
was a Ready Player One.
yeah,
So
that was
what was
pretty
the Ready
cool.
Player One experience?
So it starts off where you just walk through like a little like it's almost like you're going to the Oasis where you're walking through
Right.
like a cylinder hallway where it just says Ready Player One everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
And then you first go into like they had a bunch of recreations and props from the Shining
Right.
scene that was in the movie. Then you go into a room where there's all these old arcade games like Tetris. They had Galaga, they had Pac-Man, they had all those, and there was CDs and all the ceilings. It was really kind of cool. Then you went into a mirrored room where it was like you were supposed to find a way to get out and escape and get into the next part of the experience. Then they had a bunch of props from the movie, like costumes, things like that. They actually had the prop of Wade Wilson's. The last name wasn't Wilson, but his first name was Wade, right?
From Ready Player One.
Yeah, his first name was Wade, I think.
The main character, Wade Watts. Wade
Wade
Watts.
Watts, that's it.
That's
Yeah,
why you would confuse it with Wade Wilson. It's
yeah. They had his whole like setup with the van that he had, which was a little private hideaway, which was really cool. And yeah, it was a fun little experience. I had fun going through it. You know, I
so they
enjoyed it.
recreated the overlook from The Shining.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds pretty neat.
Yeah, they had the room. They had the room with the hallway, and then they had the room with the bathroom. So they
Did it
had
fill
that.
up with blood?
No, it did not. But it was.
Well, that's disappointing.
But it was cool. I enjoyed it. But the
Did you
one that
do
was.
right? Go ahead.
But the one that was really cool, and I got into it the next day because I tried to get into it on Wednesday originally, was the DC Universe. That was really fun.
Tell us about the DC Universe experience.
So the DC Universe had a lot of different experiences. They had one where you could walk through a little like live little like panel of the Court of Owls, which was kind of interesting.
Right.
I got to go into a room and talk to the guy who is basically the DC Universe is going to be a new streaming service where they're going to have a bunch of new content like live action shows,
like Titans.
shows. Yeah, they're doing Titans, which I got to see. I think I was one of the first people to see that trailer because you went into a room for Titans where it was supposed to be Dick Grayson's office, right? And he had been supposedly like taken, or he had either gone away real fast or disappeared. So this guy there, this detective who was helping you, it was almost an escape room of sorts. We wanted to help you, find out, okay, where had Dick Grayson gone? So you got to go and like, there was like 6 different files where if you made him fill circus and you flipped over this Flying Grayson's poster and got a little thing for his safe. And once you open that, the wall opened up and there's a TV and you got to see the Titans trailer, which like many fans, I was surprised when I saw the trailer because it's going to be a lot more dark than I expected. It's not a bad thing. I was like, I didn't think this.
I think that is a bad thing, but we can talk about that more later.
And so I got to see that. Then I got to go into the Young Justice Outsiders little room, which is basically just you got to find out which Young Justice character were you. I got Arsenal, which was kind of cool. Then I got to go into. Did I go to the other rooms? Let's see. I got to. Oh yeah, I went to the Doom Patrol room where you got to see. Like you got a little like it was supposed to like a concoction from just juice, and then a kind of popcorn that like made you like blow smoke, kind of like the dragon's breath candy they have. So that was kind of cool. They had little props for the costumes for Titans, and what they're basically doing, the content they're doing is I got to actually talk to the guy. I still need to upload that interview, but the guy who's one of the guys who's behind the DC universe and talk a lot about what it was going to be like and where it was.
Who was it?
All that stuff. I can't remember his name off the top of my head.
All right.
But I have to look. But anyways, so what they're basically having come out, and they said I think most of it was coming out at the end of this year or sometime in 2018. They're bringing back Young Justice, which Outsiders looks really, really good. I'm really excited for that. I love that show, and the trailer looks really good. They're doing a Harley Quinn cartoon, which is kind of interesting. We'll see how that goes.
August 2018 is the launch period.
Okay, so they must just release that recently because I was there. They just said 2018. They didn't give a date yet. And they're also doing a Swamp Thing live action show. They're doing Titans.
That was already announced.
Show. I think they're doing a Doom Patrol.
And they also had a Harley Quinn like
they went in there where you could just kind of pretty much go and just smash whatever you wanted. I heard that was fun. I didn't get to do that one.
One of my friends like slipped and sprained his finger.
I heard about that. I did hear about someone breaking their finger too. I heard about that. And then they also had a Swamp Thing
because you have like a bat or a hammer and you can crazy in there.
And they covered you in just like, like a white suit, pretty much,
Yeah.
so your clothes didn't get dirty. And then they had a Swamp Thing one supposed to be really, really cool that I didn't get a chance to check out. But the DC universe was really fun. I
Was
really
that
enjoyed
your
it.
favorite one?
I was excited about all the stuff they're doing, and of
Was
course,
it
Young
your
Justice.
favorite?
I don't know. I think the Deadpool dream suit is a little bit more fun, but I
Really?
liked all the
Because it
stuff
was
they're doing.
just the one room, and like the DC universe had multiple rooms.
Yeah, but I didn't get to do all the rooms. I didn't get to do the Harley Quinn one or the Swamp Thing one.
Okay.
Yeah.
But Deadpool's just that one like apartment. So
Yeah, I just enjoyed it more. I don't know.
I mean, all you could really do in there was take photos.
I did a video. Actually, let me do a video.
Well, I mean, yeah. So I mean, photo or video. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
What's so special about that? All they did was like set up a hotel room to look like the apartment from the movie.
I guess it was just because I'd never done anything like that before. It's the first one I'd ever done.
All
So
right.
I liked it so much. I was so excited for
All
it.
right. So the Deadpool, we're gonna mark down the Deadpool Dream Suite as your favorite event at Comic-Con.
And then, of course, on Friday, I got to go into Hall H and see the premiere for Glass. That was really, really cool.
All right. Before we get into panels, so it was the Deadpool Dream Suite was your favorite.
Correct. What about
All
you?
right.
Which one was your favorite? Did you get to check out any of them?
Favorite? Probably since it wasn't really at Comic-Con, was the 20th Century Fox Alita Battle Angel presentation at the Horton Plaza.
Nice.
Which was sort of a way for media to check out. It was basically a Comic-Con panel that, for whatever reason, was not at Comic-Con. Robert Rodriguez, the director, was there. The star Rosa Salazar, who plays Alita, was there.
Okay.
And the producer John Landau was there. They introduced the new trailer that just came out this week, and they showed like a group of new clips from the film based on the anime and manga Battle Angel Alita that we were seeing for the first time. So it was pretty interesting to see that. I don't know how successful the movie will be, but the aesthetic looks like they captured the style and look from the manga, which in a way we've never really seen before. We've seen attempts. Like, do you remember Dragon Ball Evolution, that movie?
I didn't actually see it, but I heard nothing good about it. So.
All right. Like, that movie was horrible. Ghost in the Shell was a disappointment, right?
Yeah, it was just, for me, like, it was just really, really boring. I mean, because I didn't know Ghost in the Shell itself too well, but the movie was just really slow and boring.
All right. Well, this looks like it really if you're a fan of anime and manga like I am, this might be the first time there could be a really good movie actually based on that type of material. At least the footage we saw looks promising. The cyborg characters look unbelievable.
Nice.
Robert Rodriguez, he directed the film. James Cameron wrote apparently a gigantic script. So apparently they're still using James Cameron's script because originally Cameron was going to direct this thing. And I think Lightstorm has had it in development for almost 18 years. Lightstorm Productions, the production company, and 20th Century Fox is going to release it.
Wow.
So I think it looks promising. The villains in this film, they look massive, and the CG looks good. The visuals look good. I'm not totally sold on the CG used for Alita. It's clearly sort of a motion capture performance, but something just looks off about her face. I think they should have. I understand like why they did a motion capture performance, but the face just looks a little weird to me. It's sort of like that uncanny valley effect we hear about in these things. So that was my favorite sort of event during Comic-Con that was sort of like an off-site event. So let's get into the panels now. So it sounds like you went to a couple Hall H panels. So I guess your favorite one you said was Glass?
No, I'm just saying that I got to see the premiere of the Glass trailer.
I didn't get to go to the Glass panel, so tell us about that.
So that was pretty cool because, we had Samuel L. Jackson there. We had Bruce Willis there. James McAvoy wasn't there because he was supposedly really sick and was doing something in England. M. Night Shyamalan was there, which was really cool. And M. Night Shyamalan kind of told a cool little story where, he said he had like Bruce Willis. He kind of looked at it as a brother because Bruce Willis like trusted him when no one else did when he started doing movies originally, and they told a bit of history about Unbreakable and all that, and where like he remember said he wanted to premiere this trailer at Comic-Con because Comic-Con had just done a lot for him too, and he'd had a good history with them in the past. So he had planned from the beginning to premiere the trailer there, and the trailer is really really cool. Honestly, M. Night Shyamalan has been hit or miss for me sometimes. Like The Visit, I wasn't too excited about, but I did like Split a lot. Split was probably one of M. Night Shyamalan's better films I've ever seen, so I really enjoyed it. So
especially after he had a huge slump. Remember?
Yeah,
He just could like not get a hit movie together to save his life.
And but I was really blown away by Split. I was surprised, and yeah, I'm really excited for this movie. And the trailer, it was really really good. So
what can you tell us about Glass and how it will continue what was started in Unbreakable and Split?
So what basically happens in a nutshell in the trailer is there's a new character that's I believe a nurse at some hospital where all three of these people believe they're heroes, and she thinks it's just some kind of like like either like illness they have or psychosis, because Glass thinks not Glass. It's not Glass, is it? No, Glass is Samuel L. Jackson's character, right?
He's called Mr. Glass,
and
that's not his character. Like that's like his nickname.
And the one, so who's the one that Bruce Willis is then?
David Dunn.
Dunn. So David Dunn, of course, thinks he's a superhero who is doing some he's like in the trailer you see he's done a little bit of kind of like vigilante stuff already. Right. They kind of set up Glass
almost 20 years later, right?
Yeah, and in Glass they almost seem like they want to they're setting him up to be a villain in like a super which is kind of interesting there.
Who's the villain?
Samuel L. Jackson plays Glass, right?
Okay, right. His character's name is Elijah Price.
Yeah. And then of course Jane McAvoy's character, we see some of his different personalities show up. There was actually a really cool scene where you get to see like kind of Samuel L. Jackson.
Does he connect with Elijah? What's going on with them?
Elijah wants to connect with the Beast because he thinks he can use the Beast, for whatever purposes. So that was kind of cool to see. And yeah, you get to see all three of them together.
Are they gonna fight?
You don't really see them fight, but you do see.
What happens what's going on when they get together?
Well, they're in the hospital when they get together is what happens.
Who's hospitalized?
No, they're just all in like a mental hospital of sorts. It's like
they're locked up? They're all locked up?
Yeah, and like I said, this new character specialist is seeing all three, but she thinks all them believing they're heroes or that they have special powers is just some kind of weird psychosis they have, right? And we saw
they all do have Dunn in James McAvoy's character have powers.
Yeah, and we get to see, I guess we get to see some of his personality show up in the trailer. There are some parts we get to see the Beast show up, which we met at the end of Split. There's some good action scenes there with the Beast, which is really cool.
Kevin.
Yeah, and like I said,
is David Dunn gonna fight Kevin the Beast?
We didn't see it in the trailer, no, but we did see where a few scenes where Mr. Glass is trying to like either meet the Beast or almost he's trying to build an alliance with the Beast. So that was really kind of cool.
Does the Beast want to align with Elijah?
I think we saw one scene first where Mr. Glass says, "I want to meet the Beast," and like the personality says, "I don't know if he's gonna like you, but I'll see what I can do." So that was really kind of cool. And then I think we see one yeah. So I don't remember fully what we see, but I know that the movie I'm pretty impressed by.
Are you sold on this movie premise?
Yeah,
Are you?
Yeah, I think this movie is going to be another hit for M. Night Shyamalan easily. Although I need to see Unbreakable to be fair, I didn't see that one.
You've never seen Unbreakable?
No, I haven't.
Wow.
Like I said, I saw Split.
I mean, it would probably help you if you actually went back and watched Unbreakable.
I will when I have the time one of these days. I will, because it looks like it's a good film.
Are any other characters from Split in this film?
I think it's just Jane McAvoy's character and Samuel L. Jackson and Bruce Willis. I didn't see any other characters show up in the trailer anyway. At least not when I was there.
What about the girl, the survivor from Split? Is she in it?
I don't think so.
Casey?
I don't think so. I think that there were mostly new characters. Besides those three, it's just new characters. So I
What
don't
about
think
David's wife and son?
I didn't see him in the trailer. It doesn't mean they're not in this. I just didn't see him in
Okay.
the trailer.
Okay, interesting.
Yeah. So that was a really cool first visit to Hall H because I've never been to Hall H before. So that was fun.
You know what was good this year? The Hall H had a special entrance for media.
Yeah, that was
They
great.
didn't used to have this, so now if you had a press badge, you could go through the special metal detected entrance to get in earlier, which I don't think any other auditorium really has a setup like that other than Hall H. And besides that, they only started doing that last year, I think. They might have done it before, but I never knew about it.
Mm-hmm.
But the only time I was able to use it beforehand was last year. So it's very lucky just because, look, those lines for Hall H are insane, Jay.
Mm-hmm. There, I
I
saw.
mean, if you're waiting in those lines, there's a good chance you're not getting in. So,
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I
and
don't.
then of course, there was Friday, getting to see the world premiere of Death of Superman. That was a lot of fun.
How
That
is
was a
that?
really
How is
good
that
movie.
animated feature?
Yeah, it comes out August 7th. That should be here before we know it.
Right. But frequently they'll premiere the new DC animated movies at Comic Con. So how did you like? So did you get to see the whole thing?
Yeah, I did, and I thought it was a pretty good film. It reminded me sort of Infinity War, and here's just where I make that analogy.
Okay.
It was a movie that you knew was going to end badly, and when you knew it was going to be kind of like harsh at some parts,
Mm-hmm.
but once the scene comes, it's coming. It still kind of was a little painful to watch. It wasn't as numbing or as painful or as brutal as Infinity War, but like kind of like some of the cast said at the roundtable once, it's Death Superman, so you kind of know what's going to happen. You're kind of
Okay.
like, oh, Superman's going to probably die in this. It's probably what's going to happen, and but that
But it's
death
not
still,
it's not probable. It's not
yeah,
probable.
yeah,
Yes.
but when that death happens, you're still just like, damn. I mean, like because it's kind of a little like heartstring tugging death. It just is. So because it's this great hero who you're like, yeah, he's dead. It's like so, yeah. But it was good though. I enjoyed it. I definitely it was a good
Okay. Can you
film.
explain something to me? Lois Lane is in the movie, right?
Correct.
Is Superman still going out with Wonder Woman at the during the?
No, no. At this point, that's over.
Why is it like? Do they talk about that at all?
Yeah, they did. I think they said that it was good for a while, but like after a while, like I think he realized he liked Lois more than he did Wonder Woman because they were together in what DC movie were they together? There was one I have it I think where they were together, and it might have been
They were together in this sort of animated universe beforehand. They were like a couple.
yeah, but there was one that I saw, and I want to say it might have been Justice League versus Teen Titans. They were together. You saw them together in that movie.
Right.
So they were together in
What's
that.
the situation now?
The situation now is they realized they weren't working out. He is with Lois, and he's dealing with because we have where Barry says, oh yeah, me and Iris are getting married. They're like, oh, that's great, that's wonderful. And Superman is dealing with do I tell Lois? Because I want to tell Lois, I love Lois, I want to be with Lois, but
So he's
should I?
dating. So he's now is he dating Lois now?
Yes, he is dating Lois, and he's dealing with the problem where Clark Kent is dating Lois, and he wants to tell her who he is, and that for a good chunk of the movie, he's
But
dealing with.
wait. He's dating Lois as Clark Kent, but still doesn't know she's Superman, or
Yeah,
he's Superman. Excuse
she
me.
doesn't know, and it's a good chunk of the film where he's like, should I tell her? Shouldn't I tell her? Like, and he's
Wait,
dealing
but
with
who's
that.
getting married?
That was Barry Allen.
Barry. Oh, Barry is getting married to Iris, correct?
Yes, yes,
Okay.
that's what's happening. And of
Okay.
course, there's a scene where he goes, "Well, wait, how are you doing that?" It's like, "Does Iris know?" He's like, "Yeah, of course she knows. I told her." He's like, "How could you?" So, like, it's like he's dealing with that. He's got the big problem of like, do I tell her or don't I tell her? Because he knows he wants to tell her and he wants to stay with her, but at the same time he knows if I tell her, it could put her in danger. So there's that whole thing going on for a chunk of the movie. Yeah, and Jerry O'Connell was great as Superman as usual. Rebecca Romaine, I think, stepped in as Lois Lane this time, and she did a
Who's
really
his
good job.
wife and who is Jerry O'Connell's wife in real life? Actually,
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
did you know that?
Yeah, I did know that. Yeah, and
So
and
how was
then
Rebecca? I talked to some fans who weren't enthused about Rebecca Romaine playing Lois Lane, but how was she?
I thought she did a great job. Personally, I thought she did a great job because this is a more emotional story. It's therefore going to be an emotional film, and I think she did a good job with the emotion. I really do. You know, like
So is the whole Justice League in this film?
yes, yes, they are.
So we get to see the whole Justice League, because there was another Death of Superman movie that came out in 2007. I want
I
to say.
think that was the Doomsday one, right?
Right.
Yeah, because when I talked to the cast again and some of the crew, they brought up that we've done this story before, but not like this. Because in this one we have Doomsday. Doomsday doesn't really talk at all,
It was
and
well, he didn't talk in the last movie. It was Superman Doomsday from 2007.
yeah, and I
He
heard about
didn't
that one.
he didn't talk in that movie at all.
And so in this one, we get to see the Justice League try to take on Doomsday, and Doomsday kicks all their butts. So it kind of comes down to where Superman doesn't want to, like, try to fight Doomsday because I think he's trying again to shouldn't I tell Lois, and yeah, and then he has to take on Doomsday. We all know where it goes from there. But it was an amazing fight. They did a real good job with the fight, animating it, and just how
What
brutal it
happens
was.
to so what like do well, I guess we shouldn't spoil it, but
Yeah. But it
I mean,
was
look, it's called Death of Superman, and this story has been around. I mean, this story has been around for like almost 25 years. So
mhm.
I mean, did they hint at the other Superman characters for
Yes,
the?
actually,
'Cause this
and
is a
this
two-parter story, right?
yes, and this isn't a spoiler because they actually had this online before this one came out, where the next movie is going to be Reign of the Supermen. And actually, because it's on digital now, you can actually see a little sneak peek of that on YouTube, where Jerry O'Connell is coming back to voice a character in that,
Hmm.
and they're also going to have like Superboy and
Well,
like.
yeah, he's coming back to voice Superman because it's called Return. It's the Return of Superman story.
Well, actually, no. Reign of the Supermen is he's going to be voicing a character called Cyborg Superman, is who he voices in that actually.
Wait, he's voicing Cyborg Superman?
Yes, Cyborg Superman is in that. Eradicator is in that. Like John Steel Superman is in it.
Well, he's gonna have to
Superboy,
voice the returning Superman as well if they're doing that story.
which they probably are, but I don't. I know that those four are going to be the main focus of this movie. I know that. And Super,
Steel is in it,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Steel
and
and Superboy.
Superboy is going to be like the clone Superboy
Well,
that.
they weren't called that at first. At first, they were called the Cyborg Superman, the
Uh-huh,
Man of Steel.
uh-huh.
Uh,
Superboy.
I forget what Superboy. Reign of the Superman.
And then there's one called Eradicator, which I'm not familiar with that one.
Eradicator, yeah, Eradicator.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, so and that comes out next year, I think.
Cyborg. Okay, so we have a bit. So we have a bit of time. So Cyborg Superman, the Man of Steel, and who? And Superboy.
And Eradicator.
Okay, it was Superboy and Steel. Okay, and Eradicator.
Yeah.
Oh no, Superboy was Last Son of Krypton. Oh no, I think no. Eradicator was called Last Son of Krypton. Excuse me. Superboy was the teenage clone of Superman.
Mm-hmm.
And and then there was the Cyborg Superman. So there you go. All right, very interesting.
And what was really interesting, when it came, because it was, I think,
yeah.
it was that same day, I think that morning, I got to interview some of the cast for the new Ninja Turtles. Which one thing that's interesting about this new Ninja Turtles is they've got an insane cast of characters. John Cena's voicing the main bad guy Baron Draxum. Fred Tatasciore is being a character. I keep saying that wrong. Sorry. Marisa March and Rob Paulson are going to be a Foot Lieutenant and a Foot Brute. Rob Paulson is also going to be voicing. He's
Rob
also
Paulson,
the director,
who did the past two shows, is also the voiceover director.
Yes, and we've also got Rise Darby, who's being Hypnopotamus. We've got Big Mama, which is voiced by Lena Headey.
I don't think the show. I'm not excited about the show. I don't think it looks great, but.
Well, I've watched the first episode. It's actually on Nick.com. You can watch it, and it's definitely interesting. It reminds me of kind of how the last two started, because I wasn't exactly insanely excited about the Ninja Turtles cartoon from 2003, and even the Nickelodeon one at first. I'm like, this is an okay show, but it didn't blow me away. It took a while for either of me to really get hooked.
I'm willing to give this show a chance, but I consider the 2012 series is the best in terms of story. It's the best series.
Oof,
I think
I'm in a different boat. I think the 2003 was the best. That's just me.
2003 was a good series, and they had a good run with it.
Yeah.
But I think in terms of overall story and the group and how much they got to do with it, I would say 2000. All right, it's personal preference. 2012 was my favorite.
The one that would, well, it's kind of almost a tie for what the two worst ones. So because Back to the Sewers was kind of odd, though it did have some good episodes. But the one
But
with
that was part of the 2003. That was part of
but
2003.
the one that was really where it was a live action one with the female turtle, that was kind of weird. I lost interest in
That
that
was the
one.
worst. That was the worst. That
Yeah,
was the
it
worst.
was. And so I got to do that, and then I got to interview some of the cast for the
I
Invader
interviewed
Zim.
Eric Bauza, who plays Splinter.
Yeah, I did too. I got to interview him, Rob Paulson, Brandon Michael Smith, who is Michelangelo, and I think Andy Suriano, who is one of the directors or writers
Okay.
or producers, something like that. So
And
that was good.
and look, I like talking to Eric Bauza. He's a very talented actor. He was Tiger Claw in the 2012 show, so
Yeah.
he had an important role in that series. And he's very enthusiastic about this new series. So
Yeah.
I'm not going to begrudge anyone who's going to watch and enjoy this show. It just doesn't look like my cup of tea. I don't like the designs. I
It's
don't like.
definitely it's definitely going in a different direction because Raphael is leading it first, and as far as you can see in the first episode, they're brand new to this whole hero.
Raphael, all right,
They really
and talking
are.
about Raphael leading the team is ridiculous. Okay, it
Yeah,
doesn't make sense.
but to be fair, it may not last forever too. Because I remember on the 2003 one, you saw where for a while Raph, when they were younger, was leading, and then kind of they realized no, Leonardo's the leader. He's just the one that's meant
All
to lead.
right,
So it could happen on here.
to me, there's always a certain expectation that just Raphael is not the lead. And look, they're
Mhm.
doing. Every show is going to do something new and different with it, which is fine. This one just looks. It doesn't look like a Ninja Turtle show I will want to watch.
Mhm.
I will give it a chance. I'll watch the first couple episodes.
Mhm.
This doesn't look like the DuckTales reboot, I would say,
No,
Jay.
no, it doesn't. But they're going in a different direction, that's for sure.
Well,
And one thing I'll say about
different
this
doesn't
show was,
different, Jay. Different doesn't always mean good.
and one thing I'll say about this show,
Look at the new She-Ra series. Okay.
and one thing I'll say about this show though is all the cast, and they even said in the panel because I got to go to the panel too, that a lot of even the guest stars and the people voicing the bad guys are all very, very enthusiastic and very glad to get to be a part of this show. So they said, so that like gives me some hope for it right there.
I got to go to the WWE panel for Mattel,
Nice.
which is always one of my favorite panels of the year. If you're a fan of WWE, we had the world champion AJ Styles. We had Zack Ryder, Kurt Hawkins, the Woken one. Matt Hardy was there, and Becky Lynch was there. Mattel and WWE revealed some of their latest products. I got to ask a question
Nice.
to the Mattel team. It was a lot of fun.
Cool.
Matt Hardy. Now, I put this video on Instagram and on my Facebook, so check out my Facebook, Jeffrey Harris, if you want to see this video from Comic-Con. Matt Hardy did this great entrance in character as Woken Matt Hardy. So, I think you can check the full panel out on Ringside Collectibles channel on YouTube. So if you want to check the whole panel out, including the question I got to ask to the team, which I basically cut a wrestling promo. It was a lot of fun. So this is more for the WWE wrestling fans, but it was a good panel, a good time overall. My favorite panel though during Comic-Con, I would say, was probably the Iron Fist TV series. Marvel TV made the big push for Iron Fist this year, and I think they did a good job. Iron Fist was not the best Netflix show, right, Jay?
No, it wasn't. No, the first season was really weak. It was probably one of the weaker of all four of those. It was probably the weakest.
I didn't hate it though. I
won't say I hated it either. I was able to get through it, but it didn't have a strong villain or a strong story, and it just was not as strong as previous.
I think they did a hard sell. They did a hard sell at Comic-Con, but I think it looked good.
Yeah, I'll say this for the second
season.
Did
you see the panel?
Yeah, I did. I got to check my head in there for a part of it. You know, it looked to me like they had learned their lesson from season one.
Yeah.
And it looked a lot stronger. They actually announced the premiere date, which is, what was it?
September 7th. September 7th.
And yeah, it looks like they're going to have a main strong villain this time. And it's a villain that someone that we've seen before. So that was
It
really
was
cool. There's
Davos
another,
from the first season.
yeah,
Looks
and there's
like he's
another
the main
new
villain.
character, Typhoid Mary, which is really cool.
Right.
And yeah,
Typhoid Mary, who is a big character from the comics. Normally, Typhoid Mary is like a Daredevil villain, so it was a bit surprising that she's going to be an Iron Fist. And she's going to be played by Alice Eve from
yeah,
Star Trek Into Darkness.
and she was also in he's just like she's out of your league. She was in that too. And
She's been in a ton of movies.
Yeah, so like yeah, I got to go into that panel for a bit, and I was like, you know what, I'm actually a bit more excited for this season because it looks like they learned from their mistakes of season one, and that's a good thing. So
yeah, it looks they got a new fight choreographer, so it looks like they did a lot better focus on the action and fight choreography. We saw a lot of fight footage from the show at the panel that looks promising. That we got to see this. They showed this extended fight scene between it's basically Danny Rand, the Iron Fist, and his former friend Davos in Kunlun.
And it was before either one was the Iron Fist. It's really cool.
Neither,
we got to see them both in masks. They both have their hands tied together. So yeah, it was a really great.
Right, and we saw the whole, and they showed part of the fight scene, and then they showed the rest of it at the end of the panel. And this fight scene, it was brutal. Like they went all out, and this was the fight that allowed Danny Rand to become the Iron Fist by winning this fight. Basically,
yeah, to fight like what was the name of the dragon?
Xiao Lao. The winner, it's basically sort of like a rite of passage, and the winner would receive the honor to fight.
And we got to see at least one or two really good fight scenes with Misty Knight, which is really cool.
Yeah, right.
Too. Those were some really good. Yeah,
Simone Missick is joining the cast this season as Misty Knight. So we got to see her interacting with Colleen Wing and having some fights, not like fighting Colleen Wing, but her and Colleen Wing fighting some bad guys. There was a really cool fight where he's running up against basically like this cargo truck, like in a game of chicken. Like he's running toward this moving vehicle. He sidesteps it and uses his Iron Fist to punch it to like send it like crashing, and then he just fights wave after wave of just these like triad gangsters, and then at the end of it, like when they pull out their assault rifles, he uses the Iron Fist power and he punches it. Now, another interesting reveal. This was at the panel. Is they showed Davos going to.
Oh yeah, I remember that.
He goes to a nightclub, and it looks like part of the conflict this season involves like the triad, which is basically like the Chinese mafia. So he goes over to him and he says like, your war is over, and then they're like, no. He beats up a bunch of thugs, and then we see that Davos somehow was able to unlock the Iron Fist power. We don't know how.
It was a different color, so we don't know if this is the Iron Fist.
We don't know the full story.
Like it, which is interesting.
It's so it's a very similar power to the Iron Fist.
Yeah, which was interesting.
I liked what we saw this year. I was very encouraged. Wouldn't you agree?
Did you get a chance to interview that cast at all?
I did get. Yeah, I went to the my coverage of that event will be going up later. Nice. I did get to talk to the cast, and I'm very encouraged. I think this could. Iron Fist is one of my favorite characters in the Marvel comics, and like you saw Luke Cage this season, right?
I did, yes.
Didn't you like the episode with Danny Rand and Iron Fist and Luke? Like that was a good episode, wasn't it? So I feel like the potential to make a good show for this character is there, don't you think?
Yeah.
So I feel like they're putting a much better foot forward for this season, and I think the action and fights look a lot better, and I think they're giving the people more of what we want and less of the boardroom corporate politics that I think hurt the first season. And the first season was just so slow too.
It was.
But here's what else I'll say. Like Iron Fist, I think did get better in the second half. And I think Jessica Jones season 2 was not good at all. Jessica Jones season 2 was a big disappointment for me, personally.
I thought it was at least watchable. It was a little not as strong at the end as it was at the beginning, but I still enjoyed it. So.
I would put it, to me, that season 2 overall was worse than Iron Fist season 1.
Oof, I can't say that.
Well, you don't have to agree, but that's just what I thought. And so that was probably... That was another good panel I got to.
A panel I really enjoyed. the Orville panel was actually really good. I enjoyed that panel. That was a really
I'm
cool
looking
panel.
forward to more of the Orville.
It was fun to get to see the second season. I actually got asked a question. I didn't know this, but I was the second person that gave me this like Orville book, which was really cool. So they talked about like all like the places they'd gone and the crew and all
Is it
that.
like an art book or what is it?
It was just like a book, like almost like a book of like the world of the Orville. It was really
Oh,
kind of cool. Yeah, I was pretty impressed with that, and it was actually really cool. The question I got to ask, not only did I have it in my mind since season one began, but Seth MacFarlane gave a really good answer. I said like I basically said where a lot of these shows start off like kind of one way, like where it basically started off as being marketed as a comedy and they tried to make it a comedy, and then it kind of evolved over time. And he said, yeah, well, when I was making this show, I had done these other shows with Fox. They were all comedies and animated. And they wanted to pretty much put this in a box and make it a comedy. And he said that was kind of a shame they tried to do that, And eventually, like he said, the fans did kind of stick to it, and it got better. And so he gave a really good answer, and it was really cool to get to just ask that question.
I think the Orville is better when it's dramatic.
Yeah, and that's what happened over time. It's gotten more dramatic, and they did a sizzle reel.
I felt like they had that from the beginning, though.
No, I disagree. From the pilot, they tried really hard to get a lot of jokes.
Maybe
in
the pilot.
I
think like in the episode with Charlize Theron, with Liam Neeson, I felt like they sold the drama pretty well in the first.
It took a few episodes though, because it was at least not until
I feel
4 where it started to go more drama, less comedy, which was kind of once it got good at least.
Not always.
Yeah, but
I feel like if you went back and you went episode to episode, you would see it.
But they did a sizzle reel for season 2, which looks like to be a much better season than the first one. That's for sure. I think pretty much the whole cast was there, which was really cool. And yeah, I'm really excited for it.
What's going to happen in season 2?
Well, one thing that's going to happen is they're going to end up in a situation where they're first contact to a new species. So that's going to be really cool. I'm excited for that. I think they said we get to see one of the crew's homeworlds, and that might either have been maybe even the robots. I don't know. They said we got to see.
He comes from like a race of basically like a race of computers, basically.
Yeah, they said we get to see either his homeworld or no, maybe that was Star Trek.
What about Ed and Alara? What's going to happen with them?
Oh, they didn't show too much in the sizzle reel about that, but we do get to see them go on more missions and interact with more species. So I'm excited for it. I can't wait.
What about Ed and Kelly?
I think we saw a little bit with them, but I think they're kind of leaving that up in the air where it goes. If it's going to be him and Kelly or him and Alara, we'll see.
Will there be any new cast members this season?
They did show this kind of elephant type guy, which was a part of their crew now. So we saw that, which was kind of cool. And I forgot I did get.
Want to know? I feel like this is one of the better ensembles on TV.
Yeah, I agree. I actually did go to the Star Trek Discovery panel in
Adrian Palicki, I think is like very underrated.
Mm-hmm.
I love Penny. Like Penny Johnson-Gerald was like great on Remember her on 24?
No, I didn't watch that show.
That was like one of her big claims to fame.
But I do remember her on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. She was really good on that.
Penny Johnson-Gerald?
No, the girl Adrian Palicki.
Yeah, she was on it, but Penny Johnson-Gerald was on 24.
I never watched that show.
This is interesting because like on 24, she's like one of the worst like people imaginable, but like on this show, she's like the compassionate doctor and like a good guy, which is it's fun. It's fun. She's a very good actor. So I'm very excited. We'll be getting. I feel like the show has really a lot of potential to open up.
Another show that did give me a little bit of hope for season 2, because I kind of lost interest in the new Star Trek, like many fans did, right? But I don't like Discovery, and I'm not subscribing to CBS for Discovery. But here's the thing, though. So I went to the panel for Discovery. I can't remember when it was. I want to say it was like maybe Thursday or Friday or something like that. And season 2 looks much better than season 1. I have to be honest about that. And so you like the panel for Discovery? Yeah, and Doug Jones was there. He is the alien where we're going to see his homeworld in season 2. It looks like season 2 of that show is going to be leaps and bounds better than season 1. So I was at least tempted after the panel to check out season 1 more, because I'm like, maybe it gets better over time too. Because
I don't know. I'm just not sure about that show.
And actually the Ninja Turtle panel was pretty cool too, because the whole cast was there, and that's where we got to see all the reveals for all the people being all the bad guys. And like I said, the guest list
I'll
for
watch the first 2 episodes of Ninja Turtles, but nothing I've seen yet really impressed me. Did you get to see the panel for Invader Zim?
no, but I did interview the cast, and that was kind of interesting because it was like a one-on-one interview. So they let us in one at a time. You interviewed the 4 cast members: Richard Horvitz,
Who's
uh,
Zim?
yeah, and
Who
then the
else
guy
was
who
there?
voices the guy Ricky Simmons who voices Gurr,
That's my favorite character.
and then Kevin McDonald who voices like I think Almighty Red, and there was another guy who voices Almighty Purple, I think.
Uh,
Like Wally Wingert, I think was his name. Sounds right.
Almighty Tallest.
Yeah, Wally Wingert sounds right.
One of them was in the Kids in the Hall. Kevin McDonald. Was it Kevin McDonald?
Yes, and he was also on that '70s show as Pastor Rick, which was
Yeah,
really
he was also from Kids. He did the. Remember Kids in the Hall?
I remember it
That
a
might
little
be.
bit. I watched it here and there. I
That
do.
might be before your time. They were sort of like a comedy troupe.
I remember it a little bit. I do. I swear it used to be on Comedy Central.
Yeah, they used to
No,
be on Comedy
yeah,
Central.
and I think they did The State, which was also on Comedy Central. It's a
They
lot of the
did.
same people.
They did. They did skits and sort of edgy kind of humor.
Yeah, yeah. The last one they did was what was it called? But they had one more. It was like a variety show that a bunch of them did. I can't remember what it was called.
Reno 911.
No, it was. I want to say before Reno 911.
Upright Citizens Brigade.
No.
I don't know if it.
I just remember seeing it. I just remember seeing it on Comedy Central. It was some weird variety show.
There were a lot there. Viva Variety, maybe. I don't know.
Oh, that was it. That was it.
But I don't know if that had the Kids in the Hall people. I think that was some of the same people as Reno 911. Actually,
yeah. I just don't know if it was before or after Reno 911 because it seemed like it was before, but I could be wrong. But yeah, but it's really cool to get to interview all of them. I guess it was a one-on-one interview, so that was really cool. Have you ever watched
Invader? Do you know anything about Invader Zim?
I've watched it a little bit here and there, but I never got too into it to be honest. But what was funny about it was when I went to Stanley's LA Comic Con in November, I interviewed Richard Horvitz, and all he could tell me was they were doing it. So, but it was funny though because I got to
he does Skylanders.
Yeah, I got to talk to him and like actually talk about the movie because when I asked him about it in November, he said, "All I can tell you is we're doing it. That's all I can say." So it was funny to get to actually talk about it with him, and we joked about that once or twice in the interview, which was really cool.
Okay, was Melissa Fawn there? She plays Gauze.
No, she was not. It was just the 4 people who were there.
Okay.
But yeah, I'm excited for that film. It sounds like a fun film. I'll definitely check it out. I'm in the Nickelodeon press room now, so
what we need is a whole new series of Invader Zim. That's
it could happen eventually if this is popular enough because they're already talking about because they're doing the Rocco Martin Life movie. They already did the Hey Arnold movie. They're doing now. They announced, and this was around Comic Con. They announced they're doing a Rugrats live action. Then
I heard about that,
and I think they're bringing that back. So they're bringing back a bunch of old stuff. So who knows? They could bring back the
DuckTales panel.
No,
they had a DuckTales panel,
but I heard about it and I saw that trailer. It looks it's Magic is coming back, which is great. It's interesting that Don Cheadle's going to voice Donald Duck in the finale.
It's a gag though. It's not like
I get it. It's a gag, but it's kind of guest.
I think that's fine as a one-off, as like a one-off gag.
I will say though,
if you had him replace Donald the whole show, I wouldn't have. I can't accept that.
It seems like a pretty cool trailer because it's kind of been leading up to it anyway. Like where Lena has this thing with Magica and. And her and Webby are friends, and now
aren't they related? Isn't she related to Magica or something?
I think it's like her aunt or something.
Her aunt, basically.
I think so. Yeah, but what I've seen of the show so far, I like it, and I'm excited for the finale. And honestly, it's been a pretty good show so far. I can't really complain about it.
Now, you got to play Shadow of the Tomb Raider at E3, right?
I did, yes.
Okay, so I got to have a bit more time with Shadow of the Tomb Raider during Comic-Con. Nice. They brought some new demo builds. That people could play.
Nice.
And I was able to play those. I was able to interview the main writer, creative writer, and the development director for the game and speak to them about the direction they were taking that. We did talk a little bit about the live action movie with Alicia Vikander. I mean, which I was critical of and said, I think Alicia Vikander did a great job, like playing the character and sort of taking some cues from the film, but I think they needed to be more like the games and sort of let Lara be on her own more. And we did talk about they did impress upon me that the theme of this game is sort of showing Lara at the height of her powers and sort of her skills and abilities, and sort of how she's developed over the course of these games. And the director did say that this is very much like the end of the trilogy. And I found that very refreshing, that developers sort of had this attitude about, you know, not constantly going bigger and finding a good place to end the story. Because I think a big problem in video gaming right now, Jay, is that publishers will want to milk a franchise to death and keep it going long past its expiration date. And it's just like year after, like, do we really need a Call of Duty every year, Jay? Or
We don't.
I mean, and I think it's just become a struggle to just one up a franchise installment every year. And I think Shadow of the Tomb Raider, I don't think it'll be the best game in the franchise, but I think it'll be a decent game, and I think it'll look. I'm glad that they're calling it sort of an end to the trilogy. Now, I got to go to the activation they had. So basically, they took this place in the Gaslamp district. Like, I think it was called a bar called like the Deck at Moonshine Flats. They basically rebuilt it as sort of like this sort of play like the jungle, like the jungles of South America or Peru, from the game. And they had a snake pit with live snakes. They had a contest where you could eat live bugs and maggots, basically. And if you ate them and kept it down, you could spin a wheel and win prizes. So I tried to talk myself into it, to like eating a bug, but my fear was if I hacked it up and vomited, I wouldn't get to spin the wheel and win a prize. And you're not guaranteed to get a prize if you spin the wheel. So let me ask you, would you eat like a dead scorpion or a water bug to spin a wheel to possibly win an Xbox One X?
No.
But you could possibly win a free game console. Why not?
I couldn't see myself doing that. Even like for something
bugs
cool
are
like
an
that.
excellent. Jay, bugs are an excellent source of protein.
I know. Try to tell my stomach that my stomach could probably puke it up. I wouldn't be surprised.
But the thing is, the reason I ultimately decided not to is because I'm afraid I would puke it up, and if I puked it up, I'd be embarrassed for puking, because there were a lot of people in there that day.
But you wouldn't be the only one to puke it up, I'd imagine.
No,
right?
I mean, I saw people do it, and some of them, most of them handled it pretty well. I'm worried the texture would make me puke, and then I would just be a wreck, and I wouldn't get to spin the wheel. So if you puke it up, you don't get to do the spin, So it's like, I don't want to tempt fate today.
Did you hear, by the way, if this is kind of that they already
hold on, I'm not. Let me and so they had live boa constrictors at this sort of activation, so you could take photos. There are photos on my Facebook page of these snakes, and it's very and they were very. These are I imagine they've lived in captivity, but they were very friendly, docile snakes. They weren't vicious, and they were boa constrictors basically. But go ahead.
It's kind of this got announced today, so actually I'll leave it for another episode because it doesn't have to be brought up this second.
Okay, what was it about though?
Just the Ninja Turtles.
Oh, okay. What about the Ninja Turtle show?
They did, and they've done this. Disney does this a few times, so I'm not too surprised this happened. But they already did announce they're doing a season 2 for Rise of the Ninja Turtles before season 1 aired. And like I said, Disney's done this a few times. They did it with DuckTales. They did it with Tangled the series. They did it with Baymax. Big Hero 6. So now they're doing it with Ninja Turtles. It just got today.
Disney is not Ninja Turtles. It's Nickelodeon.
I know, but I'm just saying that they just announced that today. That it already has gotten picked up for season 2 before season 1 comes out.
Disney's done that with their other shows, so now Nickelodeon has already announced it for Ninja Turtles.
Yeah, so that's happening.
Okay, there you go.
That's kind of interesting.
That has nothing. That has nothing to do with Disney, though.
I will say this though: that Shadow of the Tomb Raider game for me was kind of challenging. I got to play it at E3, but I died a couple of times. It was a challenging game.
Yeah,
but the graphics are amazing. I'll say that.
So this was a new. the map we got to play last week, it was sort of a new combat area. And then there was we got to see a new hub area where Lara can trade with the locals. She can sort of just walk around and explore. So I like that there's a new hub area in the game, and the environments look really lush, exotic, and fantastic. So I think we can now talk about the main event of the
Hmm.
entire Comic Con. I think was on Saturday with the It was the Warner Brothers panel.
Yeah.
So that included Warner Brothers theatrical. So included like their upcoming films for the rest of the year,
Mhm.
including the DC universe. So that the big one for you, Jay?
Yes, it was. It was the big show for me, and I just love like because I actually really was a pretty big fan of
Yeah,
Fantastic Beasts. I liked it a lot. So Crimes of Grindelwald I've been waiting for,
that
and we
was the
got these
first
little
one we got to
and we
see.
got these cool little like glove wristbands where like it started off where
It was the Deathly Hallows that had the
yeah,
Deathly Hollows on them.
yeah, and it starts off where like Eddie Redmayne comes out and like waves his wand and they all light up, and that was really really cool. I thought. I love getting to see the whole cast. Ezra Miller Toadette was pretty goddamn funny.
What was that, Ezra Miller? What was his costume supposed to be?
It was Toadette.
Toadette.
Yeah, she's been in. She was in Mario Kart Double Dash, and I think she's been in some of the Mario party
Oh,
games. I
okay.
think.
Now I. Why was he dressed up as Toadette?
I don't know because he could be. I don't know. And I thought it was really cool when
That's a
Johnny
Nintendo character.
because he could. I don't know. And then it was really cool to see Johnny Depp come out as Grindelwald. That was really cool. The new trailer was really really good. I actually like in
Did
the
they have to
trailer,
keep him separate from his ex-wife Amber Heard, you think?
and I've heard all of this, but and I like it too where they showed
Hey,
in
hey,
the
hey, hey, hold on. His ex-wife Amber Heard was also there. Like, what do you
yeah
think
for the
they did
Aquaman
about
panel. I
that?
remember she was there for that one.
So what did they have to do?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Do you think that was really Johnny Depp?
Yeah.
Are
Why
you
wouldn't it
sure
be?
though?
Yeah,
What if
why
I
wouldn't it
was
be?
there too? What if it was a really good hologram?
I
Is
don't.
that possible?
I don't think so. No.
Okay.
And I really
He
liked too
looked
in the
he
trailer
Yeah.
because we see in the because we got to see a new trailer. We get to see there's this really good scene that
Yeah.
that's been it was talked about a little bit in the last books, but it's also I think been on Pottermore because I think as far as I know of the history
Yeah.
is Dumbledore and Grindelwald when they were younger. I think they were best friends.
Were they best friends or lovers?
I think it turned into lovers over. I don't know if they ever actually officially became lovers, but I know that J.K. Rowling at one of her like events did say Dumbledore was gay. We never really
Right.
see it in like any of the movies,
We never saw it in any of the movies
but we
or
did
the
see in but,
books for that matter.
but we did see in this that's really cool. Is there's a scene where Dumbledore looks in the mirror of Erised and he sees Grindelwald. I really like that scene. And I think it's a big deal.
Isn't that implying that they were in love with each other on some like in the
I know that
past?
at least Dumbledore was with him, and by this trailer we could see that. And that's why he said to Newt Scamander that you need to go after Grindelwald. I can't. It's not because he couldn't, because he was a teacher, which we also saw a really cool scene in this where they did the whole ridiculous scene, and I think Dumbledore was the Defense Against the Dark Arts teacher. Am I wrong?
I'm not 100%.
Because they had that scene where they did the ridiculous scene, and for Newt Scamander, it was a desk. That was his biggest fear, because he didn't want to look behind the
The
desk.
other big reveal from the trailer that got a big reaction was Nicholas Flamel, right?
Yeah. That was really big too. We saw him right towards the end, and that was really cool.
And let's see, who is playing him in the film? Could you
I'm not
tell?
sure, to be honest. I don't know. I couldn't tell. But we got to see a lot of real good scenes of Jude Law as Dumbledore, and he looks like he's actually a real good fit for young Dumbledore. I had my doubts when I heard he was going to be Dumbledore, but I was given hope seeing all the scenes he had in this as Dumbledore. He did a really good job, I think. And the movie itself looks like it's going to be a really good continuation of the last story. And we got to see some really good scenes of Grindelwald, where, again, if memory serves me, before he who should not be named, he who shall not be named came around.
Right.
Grindelwald was the worst dark wizard they'd ever had in the wizarding world, to my knowledge. So
Right.
I think so. You can see he's getting followers here, and he's having secret meetings. And in the last movie, we kept seeing where there was some blonde wizard, and we turned out being. Well, should I give that reveal? People have probably seen the movie by now, right?
Yes.
Yeah, in the movie we keep seeing Colin Farrell, and at the end we find out Colin Farrell is Johnny Depp. So at this
Right.
point, if that was a spoiler for you, I'm sorry, but the movie's been out for a few years now.
Right.
But yeah, we get to see Grindelwald in action more in this, and Grindelwald does look like he's going to be a very big threat. Ezra Miller's character looked like he had a few scenes where, because was he the same guy in the first one who couldn't control his magic? Is that who?
Right. He was like a creature, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah, yeah. So Ezra Miller, it was like I thought it was called like a squib or something like that. Maybe I'm wrong because I thought that Dumbledore had a sister that was like that, where she couldn't control her own magic, so they kept her locked away. And isn't that what a squib is? Am I wrong?
I don't remember the name of the
It
creature.
sounds right to me. I could be wrong. And frankly, if people watch this on YouTube when we upload it, definitely comment if I'm wrong because I'd love to not be wrong, to get that right. But yeah, there was a lot of cool history because this takes place 100 years before Harry Potter. So far, far in the past is what they said.
It's not quite 100 years because isn't it in the 20s or 30s?
I think it's maybe I don't know. I thought it was, but it's still
the first one was 1920s New York, so it's not quite 100 years.
But it's still about 80, 90 years, so it's long time.
It's more like 80 years at most.
But yeah, we get to see we get to see a bit more Newt Scavenger's past here, and there's just a lot of really good action scenes in this trailer. And yeah, I'm really excited for this movie. I think this one's going to be another big hit for Warner Brothers easily.
We'll see.
Then of course next
what did you think of Aisha Tyler as the moderator?
She did a pretty good job. I think she was a pretty good moderator, and it seemed like she knew some of the people in some of the panels. That was really cool. I liked when they did the Lego Movie Part 2, the second part. We got to see them all as Legos first thing come out. That was kind of cool. I thought, pretty awesome.
By the way, Ezra Miller's his character Credence is a squib.
That's what I thought. That is what it's
squib, called. Correct.
Yeah, because I do think that because I think.
Hold on, the actor playing Nicholas Flamel is Brontis Jodorowsky.
Nice, nice.
So that's who's playing. Okay.
Yeah, because I could have sworn that it was either 6 or 7. We find out one where Dumbledore had a twin brother, and they used to have a sister who was a squib that they kept locked away because she couldn't control her magic either, and she was a danger to everyone around her.
Right. So we also got to see a panel for the Lego Movie 2, the second part.
I'm really excited for that. I loved the first one. Doing a sequel was a no-brainer with how much money it made.
Yeah, but they waited too long. It's been too many years since the first movie came out in 2014. They waited until 2019 to do a sequel. Wow.
But I'll say this. I'm really excited for it. I love the footage we got to see.
Right.
And I think it's going to be another great hit too, because the first one was just an amazing film. So I'm excited. And I'm curious.
Let me talk. I want to talk about this one a little bit. We find Chris Pratt in the Q&A hinted at another character in the story, and then we see in the footage that Emmett meets a new character named Rex Dangervest, a space traveling archaeologist, cowboy, and raptor trainer. Basically, they took like a Lego parody of Chris Pratt, put him in the movie, and now they're calling him Rex Dangervest. There's even they even call they even show a reference to Jurassic Park because he's a raptor trainer. So
and we see some velociraptors too, which is kind of fun.
Right. So there's some they're definitely playing around with the idea that Chris Pratt is playing this character. And we find out the name of the well, I don't know if she's a villain, but there's a character called, I think her name is General Mayhem, right?
I think so. I'm actually not sure, but I want to say maybe.
Mayhem. Okay, so Stephanie Beatrice plays Mayhem, who kidnaps all of Emmett's friends, and basically they're taken to this planet called Sistar. So I don't know. I think it kind of sounds like there's sort of like a gender war thing going on here. Maybe I'm not sure.
Well, we know at the end of the first one, when the kid is allowed to play with the toys, the sister gets to too. So who knows? Maybe that plays into it.
Yeah, so maybe they're doing something like the older brother doesn't like playing with the sister or something, and is trying to make his little sister. So maybe they're playing around. Maybe they're playing around with the real life thing with the kid.
Maybe.
Doesn't want to play Legos with his sister, so he's turned his sister into a villain. I guess. Who's not the real, who won't be the real villain, mind you. But the footage looked good for the most part.
And then the next one we saw was the Godzilla one, which
King of the Monsters looked fairly good. Yeah.
Here's the thing, though.
What?
I wasn't too much of a big fan of the last
I
one,
wasn't either.
and
It had. Let
even
me tell you, the 2014 movie has not aged very well at all. It has
no.
not.
And so I don't know, like this one to me, just the premise, because they call them like what they call them, like guardians or protectors
Titans
or something
calls
like
them
that.
Titan, calling
Titans.
them Titan,
And
which
so they
is
bring all these
Attack
monsters.
on Titan, paging Attack on Titans.
Hmm.
Attack on. They already have giant monsters called Titans in Attack on Titans.
And so they have in this, they bring back they bring back Godzilla. They're bringing like King Hydra, is that right?
Hydra.
And then they're doing
So
Mothra and
Vera Farmiga is a bad guy who's basically trying to use the Titans to wipe out humanity because like humanity is like a plague on the world. So the Titans will cleanse the world of humanity, I
yeah.
guess.
So there was Mothra, King Hydra,
Hydra
Godzilla, and
and Rodan.
Rodan.
Hydra.
Hydra. Okay, so
Hydra.
those four. I did like where Eleven's in the movie. That was kind of cool, I thought.
Bobby Millie Brown, her character is Madison Russell,
Yeah, that was kind of cool
who
to
is the
see.
daughter of Vera Farmiga.
But the movie itself, we'll see. I mean, doesn't look bad, but
The footage looked big and epic, but
yeah, but I don't like. We'll see. I mean, that
why
one
did
we'll
you not
see.
like the first movie?
Not only was it not that strong, but the monsters were really weird. You're like, okay, two weird looking blue-ish, blackish things. I don't know. So I just wasn't too blown away by
So
it.
it looks like Godzilla will basically be the hero of this film again, who has to fight these other titans to save the world.
Yeah.
I
We'll see if it's good or
suppose.
not. We'll see. I mean, it could go either way. We'll see.
All right then, and
And then after that,
then we got into the DC material.
yeah,
So we
first of all, we saw just two little clips. They just started shooting Wonder Woman 84, which looks kind of cool.
right.
And
We only got to see a little bit of that. We
and the
saw
surprise about that Chris Pine was he was actually there, which was really cool. He
right,
was
and they
there.
wouldn't say why he's in the film
Yeah,
or because
but
Steve
that's
Trevor died in the first movie.
yeah. So that's kind of an interesting surprise when Chris Pine was there. You're like, what the heck is Chris Pine doing here? That's
Well,
strange.
we had already known that Chris Pine was in the movie
Well,
in
I didn't
some
know
form.
that. I
You
didn't
didn't
know that.
know?
No, I didn't know.
It was made official a long time ago.
Well,
And there was a photo of him with the fanny pack from the movie.
I don't remember seeing that photo, but I don't know.
So we're not sure. Steve Trevor was her love interest in the first movie, who apparently died. His character is in the movie. In 1984, apparently alive. We don't know what the story is there. Maybe he was reincarnated somehow. Maybe it's not really him, but I guess they wouldn't say.
Yeah, we got to see a cool little fight scene of her in the mall. That was pretty cool.
We see her saving a little girl and like throwing her into a teddy bear and de-arming some thugs with some guns.
So
and then we see another shot of her in her new costume. She's like running across a bridge. That's all we saw, though. We didn't see a whole lot.
But I will say this: with how good the first one was, I have hope for that one. I really do. I mean, they proved that was the movie, at least for me, that DC proved, hey, we know what we're doing with our live action stuff. So at least with that.
Well, they don't necessarily always know what they're doing, but they did a good job with Wonder Woman.
Yeah, but that looks really good. And then after that, we got to see Shazam, which I'm excited for that one. I think Zachary.
I'm not so excited for that, but I think it looks okay. I think it looks okay.
You could tell on stage and in the movie, he's just a big kid, and he seemed to have a lot of fun doing the role. And we've seen Shazam a bit in the DC animated movies and in like Justice League and even in Young Justice, but we haven't seen a live action film of him yet. I think I have hope.
No, we haven't.
Yeah, I think this one's going to be good. I'm excited for this movie. I have good hopes for it.
I don't know how good it'll be, but I think Zach Levi's, or is it Levy?
Yeah, Levi. It's Zachary Levi. Or is it
spelled Levi?
Yeah, Levi, whatever.
Zach Levi, whatever.
Yeah.
He had a lot of enthusiasm for the film in this movie, so it kind of won me over. And I think the trailer we saw, I think it looked decent. I will see it.
Yeah.
I don't know how good it. Basically, it looks like they're doing the Tom Hanks movie Big is basically like a superhero film. That's basically what it is.
Kind of.
Basically, like a teenage boy gets he gets summoned to like this underground
Mm,
world or whatever, and a wizard gives him superpowers by
mhm.
saying Shazam, and he so basically he's sort of like a little kid in the body of an adult
Yeah.
with superpowers, and
Which is
and
kind of how I think Shazam is anyway, right?
yeah, that's basically what it is in the comics. Even though he's in the comics, he's Captain Marvel, but we can't use that term because Marvel owns it, I guess.
Yeah, yeah,
And Mark Strong plays the villain.
yeah.
Here's my problem though. The villain you want for this movie is Black Adam.
Hmm.
But The Rock is apparently doing that as a solo film, which makes no sense.
Yeah,
Stupid.
yeah.
The Rock should be in this movie as the bad guy. And
Maybe
then
they'll have it. Maybe they'll have a tease at the end. You never know, right?
that's not good enough. You need The Rock in this movie like interacting with Shazam, Captain Marvel
What
as
if
the bad.
people now question though, is Black Adam come in that quick in the comics, or is
What was
take a
that?
while for him to show up?
Well, I mean, he's the natural adversary for Shazam.
I'm not saying he isn't. I'm just saying he didn't show up right away in the comics, did he?
Uh I mean, we're going back to like golden age of comics here, so let me
Because
see.
I want to say that at least when I've seen him in the cartoon mediums, he's been there and he somehow
Yeah,
got.
he was there from the yes, he was there from the beginning. The canon version of Black Adam in the Marvel Family #1, Black Adam is an ancient Egyptian named Teth Adam who is chosen by the wizard Shazam to be. Yeah, he's been around since the very beginning. The character's been around since the 40s. Okay,
Well, maybe something will change over
he
time. You
was
never
in the
know what
first.
happens.
He was in the first issue of the Marvel Family, the
Okay,
Shazam family, basically.
okay.
So to me, he's like the Lex Luthor for this. He's like the Joker for this character.
Because he has similar powers to Captain Marvel somehow, right? Or
Right.
Shazam, he has similar powers somehow.
Black Adam is not like a hero. If I
Oh
mean,
yeah, I
maybe
know he's not. He's not a hero. I know
he's
that.
maybe an anti-hero, but giving
Yeah.
him his own movie is stupid. I'm sorry. It's stupid.
Well, that those plans could change. We'll see. I mean,
They're not changing. That's what they're doing because they made Shazam. Black Adam isn't in it, and they're making a Black Adam movie starring The Rock. Why not just put The Rock in this movie to fight Shazam, and you'd have that be a great movie, Jay? It makes no. It's silly.
maybe it'll happen in the sequel. Who knows?
That's dumb.
No, I don't know.
I,
I,
I mean, I mean, look. When's that Justice League sequel coming out?
I don't know.
When's the Ghostbusters sequel coming out?
Mm,
Exactly.
yeah.
Exactly. You don't because they're not doing them, man. They're
Mhm.
not happening.
Now, of course, the last thing we saw, the main event,
Was Aquaman.
and we actually got to see two. We first got to see the first trailer, and they wanted to reveal the
And then
trailer.
basically like a sizzle reel with a lot of extended
Yeah,
footage.
and I have to say that this movie looks pretty goddamn amazing.
I
I'm
wouldn't say
really excited
amazing, but
for
it,
this
it
one.
looks I think it looks promising.
Yeah, they did a pretty good call for Prince Orm. Black Manta is I think a great choice for a villain in this.
Black Mantis
Atlantis.
did. I'll say Black Mantis did look cool, and at least.
What
And
was it?
you know what
It's
else?
black. Wait, now it's Black Manta or Black Mantis? It's Black Manta, right?
Black Manta. Excuse me.
And Atlantis looks absolutely
Atlantis.
amazing.
Right.
It's kind of cool where you get to see like his mom and dad. That was really cool on their whole little start story thing.
Nicole Kidman was there, and Nicole Kidman is his mother. I
And they
like
said it was
that.
her first Comic Con, which was pretty amazing. But they said it was her first Comic Con. Pretty
Right.
impressive.
I don't think. I guess she hadn't been to Comic Con before.
And
And
yeah, like
Tamura
just
Morrison is his dad, which I like.
yeah. And it's really cool that of course Jason Momoa is excited for this. He has been since he was probably in Justice League. But yeah, this looks like I think this is going to be a really good origin story, a really good film, and I think it's going to do really well. I think this one is going to be their big hit, I
You
think.
want to know? You want to know? One thing I do like. It kind of got rid of all those dark colors. You
Yeah.
know,
Yeah, there's a lot more light color and much less dark color, which I think is how
like
Atlantis is supposed to be anyway, right?
well, like Amber Heard, she plays Mira. Like
Mm-hmm.
her hair is like that bright red.
Mm-hmm.
It
Mm-hmm.
didn't look like that in Justice League.
No, is it?
They changed a lot. All those sort of dark color, like the color has been brought out.
Mm-hmm.
which
And
I like.
that was probably them learning from Justice League, which was probably a good thing. You know, it's good.
I hated Batman versus Superman. Like it almost looked black and white at times. And
Mhm.
look, it's a superhero movie. It should not look like that. Okay. Like now, maybe a solo Batman movie, maybe because like Batman's a dark character, but not like a Batman and not a Justice League looked horrible. I'm sorry. It did
It had
not
its
look good.
flaws, that's for sure. It did. I agree.
Didn't but don't you think the colors in that movie just looked off?
Yeah,
Okay.
but
Um
this movie I think is gonna be really good. I'm really excited for this
what I
one.
did like we got to see they went to like this hidden underground temple. That scene was funny.
Yeah,
And we did see that sort of extended fight scene where they're being chased by Black Manta through
yeah.
that sort of
And there
coastal
were some good
city.
fight scenes with Prince Orman and Aquaman too. It was
The
really cool.
ocean master.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
there were some really good fight scenes there.
it looks like they can talk underwater now.
Yeah, yeah.
Now they couldn't do that in Justice League though. They had to have like that air bubble to talk.
Yeah, you're right. They couldn't.
But now
And yeah,
now it seems they can no problem.
yeah. There were a lot of really good action scenes, fight scenes in this trailer. Like, so we got to see a lot of good stuff with Black Manta, and he looks really cool. So I think they made a good
Basically,
call with this film.
one thing though, it looks like everything in this movie is set before Justice League though. Because
Hmm.
it looks like this is the origin story, and it looks like pretty much everything is set before Justice League.
I don't know if I agree with that
Why?
because in Justice League, yeah, in Justice League,
He knew who Mara was.
true, but
True, but
he didn't want to go to Atlantis then either. He actually like he because when Batman found him in Justice League, he was like, I don't know what you're talking about, and leave me alone and go away. You
yeah,
know, so
he was playing dumb.
I thought he was playing. I haven't gone back to Atlantis, and this we see him go back to Atlantis. So it might be
So
after Justice League.
no, it's not. It looks like every based on every. It looks like he's just learning about these things for the first time. Whereas in Justice League, he knew he seemed to have a greater knowledge about everything. So I have to disagree. Do you want to make a friendly bet here?
No, I don't.
Let's make a friendly bet.
No, but
why? What are you scared of?
I'm just saying that we'll see when we see.
What?
But you might be right.
All right, I'm going to bet you right now. Most of the Aquaman movie will be set before Justice League.
You're probably right. So that's why I'm not betting with you because you're probably right.
Jay Snook believes differently.
No, I don't anymore because you're usually right. You're usually right about that stuff.
Huh?
You're usually right.
Well, I mean, I was right about Han and Leia not having twins.
Yeah, so I'm just saying. So you're probably right about this stuff. So I'm not going to bet against you because you're probably right.
I think. Look, if you're confident in your belief, you should be willing to bet on it. We don't have to bet money. It can be a friendly bet, Jay. Friendly bet.
Fine. Friendly bet. Fine.
Friendly bet. Friendly bet. We're saying right here. I'm saying that Aquaman is set before, or most of the movie is set before Justice League. Jay believes most of the movie is set after Justice League.
Now, here's a question: did you get a chance to go to the where they announced that Clone Wars is coming back? Were you there for that?
I was not there for that, but they did announce at Comic-Con there will be another season, and I guess this will be like the actual concluding season from Clone Wars.
And that's kind of interesting, don't you think? Did you see that coming? Because I sure as heck didn't.
I didn't see it coming. I mean, I know there was some script. They had scripts and unfinished episodes they never completed for Clone Wars. I mean, they did that sort of lost episode season on Netflix, and I knew there was even more they didn't get to.
Because they had a good 6 seasons for that show, right?
I kind of feel I don't really feel like it's necessary. However, if they do that really good Quinlan Voss Asajj Ventress episode that never got the anime, like there's some animatic animation up for that. If we get to see that story finished, I'm on board.
I imagine it probably would be, right?
I don't know exactly what they have planned. We do know that Dave Filoni will be working on it. Ashley Eckstein will be back as Ahsoka. D. Bradley Baker will be back as like Rex and the other clone troopers. So like like the whole main cast and crew is coming back, so that's good. You know, I mean, honestly, I've kind of moved. I was never a big Clone Wars fan, honestly.
Really, you sound like you were a huge fan.
I like Star Wars, but I mean, I prefer Star Wars Rebels.
Really?
Yeah. and I'll be
Yeah,
reviewing.
it was just.
I got the Blu-ray. I got the final season on Blu-ray, so I'll be reviewing that later.
Yeah, I got that too, and I'm gonna hopefully have my review up tomorrow. But what was interesting, I just thought that was interesting because we know they're doing Resistance, and to my knowledge, there was nothing for Resistance.
It was not which is weird because Resistance is supposed to be premiering in the fall.
Yeah, so that's kind of
unless
weird. Nothing for that, which is kind of
it's a little strange.
Yeah, a little odd.
Maybe I don't know. Maybe. I guess it wouldn't surprise me if Resistance needed to be pushed back, but
there's been no news about it yet. But who knows?
We did get, speaking of which, we did get news about Star Wars Episode 9 today.
Yeah, which we'll do it for another episode because it wasn't really Comic-Con around. But I know what news you're talking about.
Let's just say Star Wars Episode 9 started filming. But one thing I did want to address, because this happened during Comic-Con.
Mm-hmm.
Is there was this whole big story about some controversial tweets.
Before we do that, let's see, what else can we talk about? I did get to go to we both were at the Marvel Animation panel, which was kind of
Marvel Animation,
where they mostly talked about the next season of Avengers, which is going to be Black
Panther's quest.
Which they actually talked about. They're going to have Kamala in there and Spider-Man, so that was kind of cool. So they're going to be showing up on that season a little bit. We did get to see some footage.
Kamala Khan, right?
Yeah.
We saw the short series from Marvel Rising.
Yeah, we got to see, which that looks good. I'm excited for Marvel Rising. That looks just going to be a good show.
It's just like a series of short films that, it's kind of like DC Superhero Girls, but with Marvel, basically.
And then we got to see a little bit of footage for that, with premiere footage.
There was a Funko short, like a Funko Pop short with Spider-Man and Iron Man.
And then we got to see the footage where we got to see Spider-Man take on Pandemania and Hippo. So that was kind of interesting.
For the new Spider-Man, for the Spider-Man series.
Yeah, which, by the way, that first part is it's live now for me.
But we didn't get any new announcements, really.
Not really, but
no.
I'm still excited for Marvel Rising. I think that one's going to be fun. All female team, Squirrel Girl.
I guess I was a little let down because I was hoping there would be a new show or something.
I was hoping I'd get to see some stuff for the next season of Guardians. There's nothing for, and honestly, there wasn't that much Spider-Man. Not really. There was some.
Wait, are we even getting another season of Guardians?
They still have because they finished this season halfway.
Let me see.
This season isn't done yet.
Okay, so it would be the rest of the current season then.
Yeah, because when we saw Phyla Vel at the last part, like supposedly the Guardians died, they didn't, but supposedly did. So
Okay, so basically we're midway. We're basically midway through season 3.
Yeah.
So
that overall wasn't a bad panel, but I was a little disappointed in it. I wasn't
disappointed, but I kind of wanted getting some more Guardians material would have been nice. But my understanding is that Black Panther will end after Avengers will end after the Black Panther season.
Okay.
Guardians of the Galaxy.
Which I did like some of the clips we saw for that. Some of the clips we saw for that were kind of cool. So I will give it.
Yeah. Guardians of the Galaxy will probably end after Mission Breakout, and I think Spider-Man might end after the current season. But that's just a rumor.
Yeah.
Don't take that as fact. Like that's just.
I know that they said that, and you'll like this. They said that they were going to have Killmonger be a bigger part in this show. And I think they said the other guy was going to be a bigger part too. What was his name?
Well, we saw Killmonger in the footage. He was in the footage.
And there was the other guy, the guy that had the gun arm. What was his name?
Claw.
So we're going to see more of him. They said too, which is kind of cool.
Well, Claw has been in the show before.
Yeah, but we're just going to see more of them on these 2 seasons.
Well, obviously, and the anime, and they've made the animation looks more like the Spider-Man show now too. So I kind of miss the old animation style, but I guess they're trying to make them all look the same.
Yeah.
But I was kind of, maybe we'll see more next year. Now that the Fox deal has gone through, I'm hoping we'll get some new. I'm hoping we'll get Fantastic Four in animation again and the X-Men. It'll probably take a while.
Yeah, and we'll get more into those on another episode.
Yeah, but we
will. Yeah.
But I did ask during the panel about T'Challa, the Black Panther, meeting Storm because that roadblock was going away, and Cortland is like, "You're right, those roadblocks are going away," and everyone clapped. Did you notice that?
I did remember that. Yeah, that was pretty cool. And I will say this: they did a pretty good job choosing the guys who are going to be. T'Challa and his sister Shuri. They did a pretty good job choosing. It looks like they had a lot of fun working
They've been
together.
on the show before. They've been on the show. James Mathis has played. He's played Black Panther for a while.
Mm-hmm. Well, I just haven't watched the show as much as you have.
Well,
really at all, to be honest.
Let me see. Like he's been Black Panther on the show like since the beginning. I think. Where else did he play the character?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
Well, I mean, he's played Black Panther on this show since the beginning, basically.
Okay.
Oh, he played Black Panther on the 2010 animated series. There you go.
Okay.
So, interesting. Now, I have to ask you about DC Universe. Would you subscribe to DC Universe right now? If you do basically, you'll get a year plus three months for free. Would you do that?
I don't know if I do the $75 one, but $8 a month is actually pretty affordable in my opinion.
Now, considering it includes you get the toys, you get the content, and you also get access to the digital comic library. You can read like all the old comics.
I just really like the fact that you get access to all the old shows and movies and all that stuff, and then you get access
to the comics
and all the new stuff. All the new stuff I'm really excited for.
Right. So with all that in mind, would you buy into the subscription now?
Like I said, I don't know if I'd do a year, but $8 is not a bad price for all that you get for it. I would.
But if you do the year buy-in, you would get basically a year plus an extra 3 months for free.
Yeah, I will say this: a lot of DC fans are gonna like because there's so much there. That's what's amazing about it. And
all right.
Yeah, so that's really cool. And
what if Marvel did a similar deal? Would you go for that instead? Because Disney is supposed to be doing their own thing.
Yeah, Disney is, and Disney will probably just have Marvel stuff on there, to be honest.
Right, exactly.
And then I will say this too, to wrap this up, at least for me.
Right.
On Sunday, well, first of all, on Friday, I got a chance to get my first, because the Deadpool Super Duper Dance Party.
That was one of the things on the show floor, right?
And they had T-shirts for every day.
Right.
And they were kind enough to give me a really cool red shirt on Friday, which just had like Fred on there, like with skydiving down to the floor. And then I got this shirt on Sunday, which is Deadpool riding a unicorn with all his friends, and it's a really, really awesome shirt. Also, DC Universe gave me a shirt on Sunday, which was really cool. I love that shirt. And the one I really wanted was they had a little booth for Disenchantment, which I didn't get to go to the round table, sadly, because I was double booked. I had another round table at the exact same time. They had where you could go there and you could spin a wheel and you might get a T-shirt. And I guess they hadn't given out any T-shirts. So on Sunday morning, I said, "Hey, could I get a shirt, please?" to the press person. They're like, "Yeah, sure." So I got a cool little shirt that says Demon on the front and Disenchantment on the back. So that's really cool. I love that shirt. So I got a total of 4 shirts at this con. It was really great. They're all shirts I'm going to rock, like for years to come, like I do with my Breath of the Wild shirt from E3 my first year. And yeah, they were really kind. And I will say this, that they were pretty accommodating to press this year. I got into some of those rooms at the last minute, or like the DC Universe, I emailed them. They said that afternoon, "Hey, can you do it this time?" I was like, "Yeah, sure." So there was pretty good accommodation for my first year at Comic-Con. I liked it. Yeah.
What was your favorite thing on the floor this year?
On the floor this year.
What booth really impressed you on the floor?
Let me think. I think it was kind of cool how they set up the Deadpool Super Duper Dance Party. I thought that was pretty cool, and a lot of people seem to really enjoy that. The Nickelodeon.
You know where the animatronics were from?
Yeah, those were pretty cool.
They were from Showbiz Pizza.
Oh, nice.
Do you remember Showbiz Pizza?
Was that in the first movie?
No. Showbiz Pizza was like a precursor to Chuck E. Cheese.
Oh, wow. I don't remember that. That's before my time.
Well.
But yeah, that was I think the one that stood out the most to me. I mean, the Nickelodeon booth was pretty cool. It's a pretty nice booth. They did a pretty good job.
The band is called the Rock-afire Explosion. Nice,
very cool. And then I think a close second, the Nickelodeon booth was pretty cool. I got to actually do, and I need to upload. I got to do the little Ninja Turtle one where you got a little weapon and it got to light up like on the show. And Yeah, that was a pretty cool little like the DC, was it the DC or the Marvel booth? There was one booth that had a bunch of, and it might have been the Marvel one. They had a bunch of stuff out there, a bunch of like different models and things like that, and that was pretty cool, pretty nifty. That might have been the DC one though.
Okay.
Yeah, so the DC one was pretty
I
good.
like the South Park booth
Yeah, they
because
had
you
that
could
little
do
game there where people would get
yeah,
asked
commented.
questions. Yeah, yeah,
You
yeah,
could
that was
win a
interesting.
member berry. You could
Yeah,
win
that
one of the
was,
member berries. And I like the Final Space booth. I'm a big, well, the TBS booth because it had the Final Space. You could do the VR
how
experience
was
there.
that? How was that?
I like that because I'm a huge fan of Final Space. Everyone should be watching that show. It's a good show. We're
Did
getting
they
a
give
sec.
you?
They
Did they give
announced the
you?
second. What?
Did they give you one of those inflatable little like green guys or one
Yeah,
of those little? They did. Nice.
Mooncake.
I
He's
saw
called
those.
Mooncake. It wasn't inflatable. It was a little like plush.
Yeah, plush. That was pretty cool.
Yeah, I got the Mooncake. And there was sort of like a little VR experience you could play. And that was really cool. Basically, you're in a mission with Gary, and he tries to save you from the Lord Commander
Oh, nice.
with help from Mooncake and everyone. And we're gonna get a second season of Final Space. Did get announced, so that'll be happening hopefully later on TBS. And Final Space is the best show you're not watching right now. So everyone needs to
Now,
watch
did they have a panel
Final
for that at
Space.
all?
They did have. I didn't get to go to the panel just because of the other ones I was going to, but it was. I'm very excited about getting more Final Space. That
Yeah, another cool thing I got to do at this con that really stood out was I got to go to the Batman Blu-ray, the original, the animated series Blu-ray.
right because
And
they
I got,
announced that. Yeah.
and that was really cool. I got to interview like Andrea Romano there, who's retired, Kevin Conroy,
How
Paul
is
Dini.
Andrea doing these days?
She's doing good. I mean, like it seems like she was the only reason she was there because she was such a big part of the show. So that was
Right.
really cool to get to see her
She in good
and
spirits
interview
and
her
everything.
because I never interviewed her before. I got
Right,
to
but like,
interview.
is she in good spirits and all that?
Yeah, so she's in great spirits. She's enjoying her retirement as far as I can tell.
Okay.
And then I got to interview
It
Kevin
just kind of
Conroy,
makes
which
me
was
sad
really
that she
cool.
retired, but I mean,
I get an
if it's
interview
what,
with Kevin Conroy was really cool, and Lauren
but
Lester was really cool. Paul Dini was really fun to get
what
interviews. So I got to interview all these big people who were.
did Kevin Conroy have any good, interesting things to say?
It was just I had met him before, but this was the first time I actually I got to interview him
Yeah.
twice. I got to
So
interview
tell
him
us
at,
about that.
yeah, it was just really cool because he's so passionate about this show, and he talked about some cool stuff about like how the show came to be and how he got the audition and how he wasn't sure if he was even a good fit at first because and how the show like did like most fans know this, but they did black paper instead of white paper because that's they wanted to make it look like darker that way, and it worked, and just the direction they went. And I actually talked to him a little bit about after I did my questions were like, the first few episodes, I got a DVD of the first season. The first few episodes are a lot darker than I remember them being. And he said, yeah, they were at first, and we kind of like, transitioned away from that. But yeah, there were like episodes where like, Harvey Dent is Harvey Dent. He's not Two-Face yet. There's an episode where Poison Ivy almost poisons and kills him. And there's an episode where Joker has this giant like garbage scow that is gassing the whole city, and they're all going to die unless Batman can find a cure. So there's some crazy dark episodes in the beginning of that series.
All right. So now I want to get to because this happened. This blew up during Comic Con.
It did.
We found out that due to some controversial tweets, Guardians of the Galaxy writer director James Gunn,
Mm-hmm.
some tweets ranging basically from about 2008 to 2012 that were posted online.
Mm-hmm.
As a result, he was Disney severed ties with him. He was apparently set to write and direct Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. That will no longer be the case.
Mm-hmm.
We do know James Gunn was supposed to be at San Diego Comic-Con to apparently announce a new project with Sony Pictures. It's rumored it was going to be a horror film with Elizabeth Banks, who he worked on with his movie from a while back called Slither. She was the star of one of his earlier films. So, Jay, what do you make of this news and hearing about it at Comic-Con?
It's definitely a little shocking because he was kind of what made 1 and 2 so good.
Yeah.
It's one of those odd stories because this isn't the first time this has happened in Hollywood where something from a number of years ago came back to haunt him, which it isn't the first time it's happened, but it was a little strange. But at the same time, like you're like, but what he had posted, you're like, yeah, it kind of wasn't the best thing to post. Another kind of example of not thinking before posting.
Even though they were posted like before he directed Guardian, well, some of them were after he was probably hired by Disney, but like these were like before the first film was even released.
Yeah, it's one of those little odd situations, but again, I think Disney really is kind of trying to like, have not have their image tarnished, and if people do, this is kind of what happens, even if it's from years ago. So,
Does it are people have compared this to the Roseanne situation? Are these situations too different?
yeah, they are because Roseanne, one night on Ambien, she said, did the tweet she did, and
And then she was basically fired the next day, and they
yeah,
canceled.
pretty much. So this is different from that. This is almost more like, because I want to say, was it Paula Deen who used to have the cooking show?
What was it?
There was this girl who used to have this cooking show called, I want to say Paula Deen was her name.
Oh, Paula Deen.
And she had something like this happen with like a tweet or something from 20 years ago, didn't she?
I think I vaguely recall that. Okay.
So this was sort of like that, at least reminded me of that. But at the same time, it's like, I don't know. I just look at like, it kind of sucks to happen, but at the same time,
But James Gunn said during this time he was trying to be a provocateur, and he was trying to just post jokes about offensive topics to. Can you understand that on any level?
I don't know how I look at it. Like, you know what? It's another example. You have to be careful what you put online,
Yeah,
because
I
one,
agree.
it clearly doesn't go away, and it could affect you in the future. So I think that's an example, at least for me, what this is. And I don't feel much sympathy because they were kind of really not right tweets. Not there's any way to make them
Yeah,
right.
but at the same time, he did such a great job with Marvel and Guardians of the Galaxy, you know?
Yeah,
And
but he's not the only
some
one
of
who could
these were
do
like
that.
really old. Some of these were from 2008 too. I mean,
Yeah,
I read some of them, and some of them were like they weren't funny. If he was trying to be funny, they weren't
yeah,
funny.
yeah.
And I think if you're trying to tell like humor, like if you're trying to use humor, it's one thing to do it in like an animated TV series that's like an adult TV series.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do it on Twitter, like if you post something like that on Twitter,
Mm-hmm.
people aren't going to understand it, right, Jay? Like if people were to read something like that on your Twitter account, and you're
Mm-hmm.
in like I didn't mean it, I'm being a provocateur. People aren't going to believe it, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah, yeah,
People are going to think you really believe in those things. Don't you agree? If you
yeah,
just post it, and when I mean it, if you post it in isolation on Twitter, it's just not a good idea, because
yeah.
people just aren't going to understand it. Because you want to know why? It's like you said, nothing you post online goes away, right?
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing about Twitter, it's like you have anyone in the world can look at it. Like if you have a Twitter, anyone in the world can find it. It's not, people think their Twitters are private. They're not. Even if you set them to private, I
Mm-hmm.
think people can find those tweets somewhere.
Yeah.
And even if you delete tweets, I think they get logged or saved somewhere.
Yeah.
So,
So to me, this is an example of,
mhm.
where you need to really be careful what you just tweet in general, because it could
But
come back
was
to haunt
Disney
you.
right? Are you saying Disney was in the right to fire James Gunn?
Yeah, because like I said, like, the more stuff they get, the more they want to have, the real good,
Hmm.
family image and stuff
It
like that
was
is not good for their
it
image.
was just shocking to learn about this during Comic-Con, because like I
I think,
figured when this happened to James Gunn, like yeah, it looked bad, but I didn't figure Disney was just gonna like cut ties with him outright. You know, I figured they would
yeah,
have.
that's fair to think that. But then
Mm,
again, they also said there's rumor now where the guy who directed Ragnarok might direct this, which I'd be okay with if that happened.
I don't think that I don't I
It's
Taika
rumor right now.
Waititi.
There's nothing set in
There's
stone
no.
about it.
I think that's just speculation. I think
Yeah,
people,
speculation, rumor. I agree, but
because
I would.
Ragnarok kind
Yeah,
of had a similar sensibility to the
yeah,
Guardians film, so I can
yeah, yeah,
I can kind of see that. I think that
yeah,
could work.
yeah. And like I said, that it's just speculation, rumor at this point. But I wouldn't be against it if that became
But
fact.
back to
Uh,
Comic Con, a few things that weren't like Marvel Studios was not at Comic Con this year.
yeah, yeah.
We had Marvel TV, we
Mhm.
had Cloak and Dagger, Iron Fist, we had Marvel Animation, Marvel Comics.
Yeah, Agents
No,
of Shield was actually there doing like the
right?
ABC booth. They had a bunch of like signings that were kind of
But
weird. Like Agents of Shield was there.
no Marvel Studios, no Marvel theatrical.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, nothing for Game of Thrones, which
Yeah,
I think would have been a good idea because even it's Game of Thrones. The final season isn't for another year, but have a panel, for the fans. You know what I mean?
I agree. I agree.
And otherwise, 20th Century Fox had that Battle Angel thing, but it wasn't even at the convention. What do
Yeah.
you make of Marvel Studios, Game of Thrones, and HBO not really having a presence at Comic-Con this year?
It was a little weird because they don't get me, correct me if I'm wrong, but in the past they usually have really big presences, right?
Not every year, but usually, yeah.
Usually, okay. But my biggest qualm though,
Yeah.
at least for me, when it came to Comic Con this year, and it was the same thing that happened at WonderCon because it was the first year they did this,
Right.
was that lottery. And this year they decided we're going to do a lottery for Funko, and pretty much said if you don't get that lottery, you ain't getting Funko at all. So that was kind of weird they did that. So that lottery, I want to say I said this on our WonderCon one. I'll say it again. They need to fine tune it because I signed up for like 25 things. I got
So
one.
did I.
I heard of people sign up for 50 and didn't get anything. I mean, like, so it's like there comes a point where it's like, you know what, you don't if you sign up for that many, you don't expect to get all of them, but like 2, 3, 4 wouldn't be crazy.
What about for signings?
Well, signings are in there too. Like they did signings, they did all the
It's a
exclusives, all
broken.
that
You want to
stuff.
know what it is? It's a broken system, just like getting the hotels. It's a lottery as well. It's not. It
Well,
doesn't
like I
work.
said, the lottery they need to fine tune because it still had a lot of bugs in it from WonderCon. It really did, and and I heard they're going to start using they're going to start using it more maybe, but
I just don't think it's a. I feel like there's got to be a better way to do it. You know?
I don't know if there's a better way. I just know they need to fine tune it more. I know that.
Did you get any exclusive items that were being sold this year?
No, but to be honest, besides the Funko, I wasn't too interested in much anything. To be honest, I really
Right.
wasn't as far as their exclusives. But what was really weird was
Did
they
you get
had
any Funkos?
they had a bunch of signings, like because they even had like two of the members of Kiss were there one day. It's like, okay, they're there. What's that all about? So they had all these signings. It reminded me of D23. There's all these signings that like nobody, at least I didn't hear about until like, oh yeah, we're doing this now. So it's kind of weird.
Okay. Any final thoughts you'd like to share about Comic-Con this year?
Yeah, last final thoughts was it was a good first year overall. I
For
don't
you.
know if personally if I would go to preview night again because I was just there and I was like, well, I wasn't too excited in the exclusives and again, I didn't get like lottery for any of them anyway.
I
So
did
unless
well
I
at
got a
preview night, so I
yeah
would,
yeah unless I got a lottery like for something next year, I'm not gonna probably go to preview night because it was okay, but it was kind of a waste of time for me at least.
my attendance next year, it will mainly depend on registration and getting my badge, and also
Mhm.
the hotel situation. That will be dependent on my attending next. But the good news is that it's easier to deal with WonderCon at least, and to get
True, true.
uh to attend WonderCon. Okay.
True.
Overall, I had a successful year at Comic Con. I think I think it's really good to have that special entrance for media for Hall H. So
Yeah, I agree.
please, so Comic Con, if you continue anything, please continue the special entrance for
Mhm.
media for Hall H. I'm I can put I mean, there's a lot we have to put up with, a lot at
Mhm.
Comic Con, but I can put up with a lot as long as we maintain that special entrance for Hall H.
Mhm.
Fair,
Mhm.
fair. Is that
Absolutely.
fair, Jay? Fair
Yeah,
for me?
absolutely. Because it made it easier getting to Hall H, and we got to see some really cool stuff there. So,
And the offsite activations this year, I think were fairly good.
mhm.
And I think the the ones that were available, like the DC Universe, the Tomb Raider, the Good Place, Jack Ryan, I think were fairly well done.
Mhm.
So I think more of that. I think the panel selection was not quite as good as last year. I
Mhm.
think overall the panel lineup last year was better, but I had a lot of fun with the WWE, with Iron Fist, with Marvel Animation, all really good panels. And there were a couple that I wanted to see, but I had to miss just because of timing and
Mhm.
scheduling. So
I'm not sure if I go to the Masquerade next year either. It was all right. I got a ticket for it, but I wasn't too
you
impressed
were
with the
real
Masquerade.
excited about that. So you didn't like the Masquerade?
It was all right. It just I don't know. I guess I
I mean,
expected
look,
Comic
there's
Con's
only so
Masquerade to be on
look.
another level.
Here's my thing about Masquerade. Like, I like just taking pictures of the fans in costume on the floor.
Mhm.
I can just get that walking around Comic Con. I don't need to go to the Masquerade for that. Was my feeling. All right. So that about wraps up our coverage of our special San Diego Comic-Con episode.
Mhm.
We'll be back very soon. We'll be reviewing Mission Impossible. We'll be talking about the 21st Century Fox, 20th Century Fox, Walt Disney merger, which the
Mhm.
shareholders have voted to approve.
Mhm.
This week we'll be more movie and film discussion and
Mhm.
what have you, and I
And some
think
TV news, of
some
course. And we're
TV
also, I
news.
don't know about you, but I'm going to see Christopher Robin on
I'm
Tuesday.
seeing it Wednesday. I will be
Yeah,
seeing
so there
Christopher
might be
Robin on
that too. So we
Wednesday.
might even end up doing another double spoiler cast.
And
Things
also, today
casted.
is my birthday, so I will be going out to celebrate now. So,
Happy
thank you all
birthday
for
to
joining us
you.
today.
That's
I'm Jeffrey Harris. You can check me out on 411mania.com. Check out my review of Mission Impossible Fallout. Check out some of my Comic Con coverage and my interviews with the Hasbro team from Comic Con, and also my upcoming interviews with the Tomb Raider team and also the Iron Fist team. And Jay, where can people find you online?
so I'm going to be uploading all my interview videos onto my YouTube channel, Movie Seeker 23. I also today, yesterday, I had go live two kind of press release slash interview articles for Rise of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles and Vader Zim Enter the Florpus. So you can check those out on
From
Good Men
Comic Con?
Project in the Arts and Entertainment
Yeah.
section. And yeah, so like that's where most of my San Diego Comic Con coverage will be going, on my YouTube and on Good Men Project. And I might even try to do some trailers on there, but we'll see because they're all online now, so we'll see. But definitely that's where you can see all my stuff. And yeah, that's where you can find me.
All right. And also check us out. We're Hollywood Purgatory. This is where the entertainment industry comes to get judged. We are on YouTube. We are on Facebook, on Twitter. Search for Hollywood Purgatory. Thank you, and we'll see you guys very soon. Bye bye.